Okay, making some presumptions here. So it says after I replace them, the same exact reading is coming up and showing faulty. What could it be? Anything helps. I've changed out the solenoids and it's not shifting beyond third. So what I would do, I'm assuming the solenoids you replaced them with, but it's just an assumption, so I need to know. Did you replace them with the aftermarket solenoids available on FICMRepair.com? They're modified. They're not, this is not the same electronic pressure control solenoid that you get from Ford. It's not the same direct solenoid you get from Ford. They start off as solenoids from Ford, but then they're modified. And so the EPC, the electronic pressure control, has double the line pressure, and then the direct solenoid is ported, so it's got bigger holes in it. And so together, the flow is quadrupled. And so if you've done that, and if you haven't done that, I would say that's the next step. But this type of issue where it's not shifting beyond third is not commonly going to be solved with a solenoid change out just anyway. So just kind of know that going in. The solenoids are for delays going into reverse, shuttering going into reverse, flaring, so you're going between gears, but it's just like going into neutral and it just won't lock up. And maybe your issue started as that, you just let it go and go and go and go and go. And if that's the case, then it might be that, and you've done the solenoids already, it might be that your clutch packs are just too far gone, and now you're stuck really calling me up asking about the transmissions I sell. And by the way, I rip for everybody. The one that I'd like to set you up with has a nationwide warranty. None of this drop the tranny and send it to us kind of garbage that so many of these vendors promulgate is reasonable. I mean, dude, if you're 500 miles from home and your tranny goes, you want to be able to go to the tranny shop down the street, not drop it and mail it, crate it up and mail it someplace. At any rate, what I would do next, if you haven't done our solenoids, I would do our solenoids. That way, best foot forward, 100%. I would drop the pan and I would look to see, hey, what do you have in the pan? Is it clean in there, or do you have metal shavings? Is it is it a disco party down there, or is it a bunch of gunk and crud? I don't know. Also, I would want to know what your line pressures are. So you can Google, 5R110 line pressures, and you compare the line pressures that you're seeing against the line pressures you're supposed to be able to see and see what's going on. So if you wanted to try that, you absolutely could. If your line pressures are good, though, and you've done our solenoids, and you're still having this problem, and the fluid level is good, and you've replaced the fluid with a fresh filter, then I would go ahead and say, okay, let me go ahead and ohm out the solenoids and see if they ohm out well. And if they ohm out well, and just do a search on the word solenoid, SOLENOID on FICMRepair.com, and you'll see a diagram of the valve body with the ohm readings that are acceptable. And so if they ohm out well, then you can say, okay, all this is taken care of. I got new fluid, I got new filters, I got the proper solenoids in there, I got proper line pressure, and I'm still having this problem. Well, at that point, I would want to know, maybe I want to know now too, what codes are you throwing? Is your hall light flashing or whatever? And based on the codes, we can go ahead and go a step further. But in the absence of codes, which I doubt, but in the absence of codes, I'm going to tell you that it's time for a transmission. Sorry. And then you got all kinds of questions to ask yourself. Do you want to go to a boneyard transmission? Do you want to get a transmission from us? Do you want to give your local rebuilder on the street a shot? Is your local rebuilder a local rebuilder? Is he just getting it from somebody else and installing it for you? All these things have play in the conversation. If you do need a transmission, don't let anyone talk you out of changing out your transmission cooler at the same time. We really, really, really like Mishimoto's. Yeah, we're talking about this dude back here. This thing is, the OEM one from a size perspective is probably about that big. This thing is just freaking huge. It's almost the size of your radiator. So if you need a trans cooler, think about doing that. But regardless, and to the point, I'd go ahead and try all that out before I opted for one of these, stage 1, 2, or 3. Don't get caught up in that. The other thing you could look at is the transmission harness, but I doubt it. Those don't fail very often at all. But if you wanted to pull the harness and do what Ford calls a wiggle test, where you got your digital voltmeter looking for continuity on either end of the connections as you wiggle the wires, you could go ahead and do that. But if you have a continuity problem or a connection problem, that's going to throw a code. So I hope this helps. FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. By the way, if you're watching this video and you don't have the problem this poor gentleman has, and you want to avoid having the problems, The kit we're talking about is the one right up here. Just do a search on 5R110 full upgrade kit or 5R110 full or something. You'll see this kit. And these two bad boys here, these two solenoids right here, are what you really desperately want. The rest of it's kind of supporting mods, whether it's the plug that not made out of plastic but metal, so it won't blow out of the valve body, the O-ring that you're going to totally need, a new transmission fluid temperature sensor, okay, fine, a new manual valve to prevent you from having internal blow-by inside the transmission, a new 6-4 style filter so you don't have the crappy 149 microns worth of filtration but 15, and a new transmission mount for funsies so we don't have to sell you a transfer case or anything like that. Ditto, by the way, with your carrier bearing. We would actually augment this kit to include a carrier bearing, even though it's not related to the transmission, but if your carrier bearing goes out, that can take out a transfer case as well. At any rate, I hope this helps you with your problem with shifting out of, up and beyond third. But give us a shout. Put your comments in below with what codes you're getting, if you're getting any, and we'll go from there. And if we need to sell you a transmission, I guess we will. And man, I'm just sorry. But 300,000 mile warranty on that if you do need that, and it's available. Any National Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association affiliated tranny shop would be able to take care of you with any kind of warranty issue that may or may not happen. Hopefully, may not. So in all the years we've been selling those transmissions, I think we've had one warranty issue, which there was no issues with at all. Got it taken care of locally. It was a very silly fix, and off to the races we go. All right, FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. Great question. Keep them coming. By the way, you asked for my help in this video, and I went to stitch with you, but you had stitching disabled. So it's just a sidebar. If you want, it's just easier if I can stitch. So, and it's more fluid for everybody else too. All right. Thanks very much. We're all in this together. Thanks, guys. Like, comment, post, repost, all the things. Tell your friends. And that's how we keep the lights on. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Not trying to sell you stuff, just trying to tell you stuff. FICMRepair.com.